All right, guys, we are live. So we do have 8:30. We are getting a massive push north, like we talked about. But let's see if that actually holds, right? Um, let's see what the stocks are doing real quick. I'm just gonna sit tight. Oh yeah, look at that push, 435. So the interesting thing on the SPY, guys, is I'm curious if this news is able to break this. If it can, man, the sky is just the limit for the SPY because if you look at the SPY, this is that kind of rising wedge we've been following. Let me mute the harmonic tracker. So this is that rising wedge, and it literally just in the pre-market pumped up and smacked the top of that. If the news can break that, I mean, we could see as high as 440 on this thing, right? 441 before it comes down to retest that. Now, if that happens, man, yeah, we're just we're heading north. But again, keep in mind, right? A lot of times the first directional push is not always the right one, but and even if it does push up, right, because we're so oversold, eventually it's going to pull back and retrace back down, right? But you can see crypto's reacting in a very positive way. Let's see if this. I didn't have the actual site up, but our API refreshes pretty quick. So let's see if it refreshed it. Doesn't look like it. Let's see if I can. You guys got me talking, so I didn't have that up. Let me pull it up here. Very interesting. 0.1%, 4%. Gotcha. All right, so I'm just kind of stalling a little bit. I'm letting this settle because obviously the TA is going to super change. My suggestion, guys, today, if you're not familiar with trading news, just let the news play out, right? Or you can try to. I would not chase a call because the market's obviously not open. So if we see a pump, 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 I would not chase that call. For those of you guys who know when I trade in this room, play the direction of least risk. And what that means is when you have a run like this, pumping up like that, it's inevitable it's going to have a retracement. It just is. It always does, right? Can we go higher? Sure, but you got to remember, guys, we're at 435. I mean, we're starting to get within range of like almost previous all-time highs, right? Which it doesn't mean that we're not going to hit all-time highs. I mean, overall, I'm fairly bullish on that part of it, but at least temporarily. But even in these pump ups like this, I mean, we had some pretty good pullbacks, right, along the way, and so it just even look at this. I mean, when everybody thought it was going to the moon, right? I mean, look at we fell all the way back down to 353, right? So all I have said to people in the community is just be careful, right? Because if every push that we have like this, right, we have a pullback like this. Every push like this, we have a pullback like this. Every push like this, we're likely to have a pullback like this, right? We could pull back as low as 409, 410. The POC, if you look on the daily, is like 411 or so. We could go all the way to 411 and still be bullish, guys. And that's the hard part people can't seem to kind of wrap their head around, is that you can have that big of a pullback and still be bullish. As long as you're creating overall that higher low, you're still bullish. But keep in mind, there's no real divergence on the daily. There's nothing really showing we're super bearish, other than if we maintain this pattern. Now, if we maintain this pattern and we do not break this level, right, and we do get that rejection on market open and we start to descent down, right, and we do all come all the way to here, keep in mind we're in a rising wedge situation. I would look for rising wedge. Doesn't mean it's going to play out 100%, but I would look for that bearish divergence or something to kind of reveal itself, right? Um, but this is definitely an interesting pattern. You can see, look at the pre-market. It's literally just rejected right off of that, even with the news, right? So as far as the SPY goes, guys, I keep saying this, and I know that I get some messages telling me I'm crazy, but that's okay. But I'm only staying put, and we scalp in our room. So when I say put, it doesn't mean that I'm long term holding that, right? Um, you can see on the short 2 minute time frame, we did have some bearish divergence, and then we did pump up. Keep in mind, news trumps TA, right? So if the news did come out, inherently bullish, then that'll squash that on the open. So I probably won't take anything right at market open. If I do, it'll be longer term, like maybe 10 days, something like that. I'll probably throw out maybe 5 or 10 contracts for like a 10 day, and see where it goes, right? Because the beauty is if it pumps up from there, I can capture something on the back end. But today's the day when you become experienced as a trader. It's the day that you really don't want to be fearful of. You can make so much money, because at the end of the day with these news events, they literally do this: up, down, up, down, up, down, and then they kind of settle, right? And so that could be something that we end up happening today. I wouldn't just jump into something, right? I mean, you can see the strength of the pre-market's pushing. I would wait for some kind of confirmation, that it's going to pull back, right, before you just jump into things. So that's kind of the SPY. I'm not going to go too deep into that again, because the news is just going to make a big difference on that. The dollar looks like it took a dive with the news. So you can see it didn't really bounce much here. We got a little bit of support, but not much. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, we still have room to fall. Now it did get a little bit of a bounce, actually right here, and it's starting to climb, which is actually a higher low than this leg here, right? So if it can hold, right, this could actually be found for the dollar as really good support, and we could pump up, back as high as these levels here, right, which would obviously drive us down. We do have some room to go down for the dollar. If you take these points here, there's definitely some room for this to fall. And this could literally, like we said, it could fall and still pump up and still be a higher low and be bullish. So pullbacks are not always a bad thing. They're healthy. So, and this is why we scalp in our room. You can see on the 1 hour from our gap fill, it is calling a bullish gap fill, meaning that we've had a little bit too much bearish, so the bulls are going to probably kick in a little bit on that. So. But we are continuing to reject off of here, as we called like a while back, and this was just derived from that, and then a couple other points up this way. So let's see, VIX is hanging out about 1460 or so. As low as that is, right, guys? I mean, it's just it's gonna flip on it at some point. Apple, even with the news, looks like it's starting a little bit down. Microsoft starting a little bit up. Google is looks like it's right around where it ended, give or take, a little bit up actually. And then Amazon is slightly up, but nothing too wild again, guys. So it doesn't seem like the news is having that much. I mean, obviously the initial one there. So, oh yeah, look at this, guys. Look at. This is gonna be bullish, guys. I'm gonna not take anything right off the bat, because not only did it was 4.9, expected 4.1, but we came out at 4.0. So this is gonna be an interesting ride. But again, I want y'all to remember, even though that's coming out bullish, right? We are very overbought, so it's just going to be, do people believe that that's bullish enough to continue to buy? I would expect crypto market open, if it pushes up. I mean, crypto is going to potentially have a pretty big explosion, because keep in mind, this entire time, crypto has been suppressed due to news, due to the SEC stuff, all that things that are going on, right? So if we do get enough bullishness through that news, and people believe that the SEC is maybe not as bad, of an issue, they're gonna buy, right? And that's gonna cause us to pump up pretty good. So I'm not gonna go deep into the highs and lows of Bitcoins, other than I'll tell you, if we flip to the 1 hour and you look, I would just follow some basic trend lines like this, right? Obviously it hit right off of it. If we do break above 26,450, I would say 26.5. If we can flip this and hold support, right, then it's almost gonna just explode over the next day or so, or even today, up into the 27K range again. Although we do have a fall and we kind of have that rising channel we talked about. If it stays if it can get back below this 200 EMA on the 1 hour, then this rising channel may actually break out, right? And it could be a fake push up to the north. But that news is pretty bullish. I'd be really careful taking any shorts until you actually see some kind of clear rejection on that. So as far as my low, I would say, you know, retest of 25.2 is very possible, 25.3. But you know, with the news being more bullish, I think we're gonna see some more support held before that happens. But again, you know, TA is so difficult anyways, but it's very difficult to do on news events, right? Because it just comes down to whether people, especially on crypto right now, because you have, economically speaking, the news is very bullish, right? But you still have the SEC beating down the door of every pair out there. So, you know, people might not think it's bullish enough to get them back into the game, right? So you have to take that into consideration. As far as ETH goes, you know, the low I have has always been, you know, the 1695, 1700 range for the retest. The high, the low of low, I'd probably would say is this white line. This is where I would definitely look to take only longs, which is going to be somewhere around 1620, 1630. The high I can see us rejecting off of would be around 1840, something like that. If we do break this 1840, then I mean we're on the way back up. I would look for these levels of rejection. Probably would be the next level, somewhere in the 1900. Let's jump into the ATA part of it. I already have ETH up, so we'll just jump into ETH. Let's talk about the shorts. It looks like we are in a short. And so it did pump up. It did not catch that DCA there, so it did come back down. Looks like it's right at our entry, so we're in pretty good shape. It's doing a really good job holding that level. Yeah, look at it. We're just collapsing here. So I'm telling you, crypto is going to be a wonky one because no matter what the news, economically speaking, if people are still afraid or fearful of that SEC, man, they're still going to sell. So this one's actually almost in the green. I'm sure it'll probably get out. But our ETH has made in 11 days $90. This is on a $5,000 account, so the shorts are doing good. I'm gonna leave those there. What I want to do, guys, I want to show you. So let me talk real quick, briefly, before we move forward. I announced in the room that we do have our copy trade program that is complete. We are soft launching it today. We are going to probably hard launch it tomorrow. And so we're super, super excited about this because it's going to help a lot of people that just want to hop in and just kind of follow what I'm doing. The copy trade program is going to be super simple for you to do. You can just literally choose that option when you create your ATA, and then any order that I execute on these type of lives is going to execute to your account. You have full control on your side that you can turn things off. So if you don't want to run, you know, Solana or XRP or whatever, right, you just turn it off and you won't get that trade. So you still have full control of everything. The beauty is we're going to do full transparency. Everything that I initiate, or all of my thoughts, all my plans, will always be recorded into the community events. So you guys will be able to see kind of where I'm at with that, and you can make decisions on your own, right? So with that said, I am going to be converting over later today to my Goliath account. So that way we're going to link that up to a master indicator. That's going to be the one that'll fire, right? So you're going to see me pivot to that one by tomorrow. I'm going to set it up today, get it all prepared and stuff. So I'm not going to be watching my Gambit one anymore. I'm going to let this one run. But I wanted to show you guys, if you are wanting to copy trade, you're going to have to make a decision to either close your existing trades to enable the copy trade, right? Taking a loss or in profit, whatever you're in. Or if you don't want to just close it and take a loss, remember, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. You just come into here. Remember, all you do is you find this buy, right? So this buy, let me zoom in on it just a little bit. So you just find the exact buy that you're in, which is right there. You just go 1 minute before. That's all you have to do, remember. So 146 on the 13th. And then all you have to do, don't touch anything else other than put in the 13th at 1 46, and then you're going to change it from close trade to enable existing. This is going to, if you did it right, change this one to be teal. That means that it's now an existing trade. Why we do that is because now after this one closes, it will no longer take any more trades. That's why we do that. So if you wanted to begin to work your way out of trades, to begin to be able to copy trade that pair, then I suggest just set up an existing trade while you're firing that. Now keep in mind, if you want to convert over to the copy trade, you can't. So like, let's say you have a Gambit right now actively working, you can't have your signals firing to the Gambit and partake in the copy trade. It's either or, right? But you could always open up another ATA, like if you're running a Gambit and let's say you want to throw, but you want a copy trade, you could throw $1,000 into another exchange, because you can open multiple BitGet accounts, right? And then you can actually link that Ultron to copy trade if you wanted to do it that way. Some people have talked about the few trades that they're left, that they'll just set take profits on their actual exchange side, and they'll just flip over to copy trade, and then that's fine. Just make sure that it's not the pair that you're still have an open trade in, that you don't have that checked. So but that's how you do that, guys. If you want to begin to copy trade on that, I'm gonna undo this one because obviously for my Gambit I'm gonna allow it to keep running. So I'm just going to flip there, and then that should put that back to red. Yeah. So I'm back to red. Remember, red is going to be, it'll continuously keep trading. If you do get that teal flip, it takes one trade and it's out. So that's intentional. So I'm going to let this continue to run, guys. So if you have further questions, you're in the community, please ask. I'll be happy to help you guys on how to convert to that copy trade. So I may even do a little like a call maybe later this evening, and we can talk more about it. But let's take a look. So we know our short is looking pretty good. Let's take a look at our long. Actually, it looks like our long closed right here. So a really good long trade. It's actually not in a trade right now. So if you are wanting to copy trade and you want to close that, you could delete that alert. So. But so far it's done really well, guys. 6 days, made $44 on that Gambit, which is a $5,000 account. Anytime you see a blue, that's a trade, sell, it means it closed it. So we are not currently in that long. So so we're good with it. Again, I'm going to be letting my Gambit account run. I'm just no longer going to be mirroring that. So I'm going to leave mine going, and I'll manage that on the side once I'm converted over. So let's take a look. We have Aave existing. Let's see if that got any kind of pump with this little news push. Doesn't look like it. I think our entry is like 58. Yeah, something like that. So we're not quite out of our Aave. I do have this set as an existing. If you guys are following, if it does come up into this profit range, right, it will kill that. Otherwise, it's just going to let that roll. So no need to go into that one. Matic and Solana, I'm not going to touch on because I know that they're not out right now, but we already have them set up as existing. If you don't have that, go back to watch the recordings, the last 2 huddles or so. That's when I talk mostly about those ones. So I'm going to jump into LTC. LTC has just been an absolute beast. So let's check out the longs. Okay, look at that. Caught that long. So LTC in 6 days made $164. You can see what's so cool about it is, it's taken all these trades, minimal DCAs. It's only had a DCA 1. Look at it, was right at the bottom here. This DCA was pretty good too. Got right out. It's just been overall performing really well. You can see here it DCA'd right back out. Most of the time it doesn't need more than 1 DCA, which is why we only use that 1 DCA protocol. So look at these placements, just absolutely killing it. So longs are doing super good, guys. We're not in a long right now. So again, if you wanted to copy trade LTC, now's the time to stop that long. And let's take a look at the short. Actually, the short just got out too. So short's 13 days, $129. So LTC we could literally pull out entirely if you guys want to move over to that copy trade. So this would be the time that you'd want to come in and just delete both LTCs. So if you think about it, I mean, that already got you out of LTC, and then ETH, you're out of the long and you're pretty much out of the short. So we could literally kill LTC and ETH right now, right? Which is the two, as y'all know, those are the two most profitable ones anyways. So if you guys, are following me and you've been following me, it might be the time to stop those. And then that way you can start fresh with the copy trade tomorrow. And then if you're following the Matic, Sol, and Aave, just leave them as, existings. You may not be able to leave them as existings because you can't fire any alerts to your copy trade once it's initiated as a copy trade. So we're trying to see if there's a way to work around for that. But the way what you would do, guys, is if you do move over to the copy trade, just go into your exchange, go to the Aave or Matic or whatever trade you're in, right, and then just hit take profit and set a take profit on it. Like something small, like 15-20%, and then just leave that there. It's going to be no different than setting up that on the ATA for that, right? The ATA would allow the opportunity for it to continue to trade, but we're not doing that anyways. So, but that's kind of it for the ATA, guys. Part of it, you can see crypto, just while we were talking, had that pump. It broke back below that 200. It is creating a little bit of a squeeze, right? You can see between the EMA and the SMA 21. Quite interesting. So let's see how this 2 minutes. Remember, we did have that. Look at that. We did have that long call. So the long call did play out perfectly. And then we did get a short call. Actually, that just fired, right? So interesting. I mean, so far for the news event, it's actually done really well. SPY is still through the roof. I mean, the SPY is going to go bananas just because that was pretty bullish, and the SPY is not under the heat like crypto. So, but keep in mind, we'll see if it can hold this channel. I'm really curious to see if in market open. I mean, we may see market open explosion right up like this, and then it could just absolutely lose that, right? So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting market open, guys. That is for sure. So, that's really all I have as far as the TA side of things, guys. Again, if you're interested in the copy trade, like I put here, if you're even watching on TikTok or YouTube, you guys can come in here, and all you have to do is just sign up. You can first sign up for the free one, right? You just have to have an email. You come in here, you put in here if you're interested, or if you have any questions, you just go to the trading floor. You will need to sign up for at least the minimum, which is the $99 a month, to participate in the copy trade. But we don't charge for most of our education. We charge for the products because the products pay for themselves. So we intentionally do that way. But I appreciate your guys' time. I'm going to cut off a little bit early here. We do have some news, so I'm going to try to get the room open here so we can kind of talk about that in the room. If you guys want to come on in. TikTok Hangout, I'll give you guys about 5-10 minutes to check some comments, and we'll see you guys soon.